Welcome to a new video, and today I'm gonna discuss the 5th Waffen-SS Division, which is called the 5th SS-Panzer-Division Wiking. The 5th SS-Panzer-Division Wiking was one of the elite panzer divisions of the 38 Waffen-SS divisions. It was recruited from foraging volunteers in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, and the Netherlands and Belgium under command of German officers. During the course of World War II, the division progressed from a motorized infantry formation to Panzer Division and served on the Eastern Front during World War II. It surrendered in May 1945 to the advancing American forces in Austria. Due to the influx of foraging volunteers, particularly from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands and Belgium, a decision was made to form a volunteer division of the Waffen-SS under the command of German officers. The division was formed around three motorized infantry regiments: Germania, formed mostly from ethnic Germans, Westland, consisting of mainly Dutch and Flemish volunteers, and Nordland, composed mostly Danes, Norwegians and Swedes. Commanding the new division was Brigadeführer Felix Steiner, the former commander of Verführungstruppe SS-Regiment Deutschland. After formation, the division was sent to Heuberg in Germany for training by April 1941. The SS Division Wiking was deemed ready for combat. It was ordered east in June 1941 to take part with Army Group South's advance into the Ukraine during Operation Barbarossa. In June 1941, Finnish Volunteer Battalion of the Waffen-SS was formed from the volunteers from the country. After training, this unit was attached to the SS Regiment Nordland in January 1942. About 430 Finns who were veterans of the Winter War served within the Waffen-SS Division Wiking since the beginning of Operation Barbarossa. In spring 1943, the Finnish battalion was withdrawn and replaced by Estonian Infantry Division Narwa. The division was not ready for combat until 29 June 1941, 1 week after the launch of Operation Barbarossa. During its first action near Tarnopol in Galicia, Ukraine, the division acquitted itself well. In August, SS Division Wiking was ordered to establish a defensive perimeter around the bridgehead across the Dnieper River. Despite the determined attacks by the Red Army, the division held the line. Against stiffening resistance, the division continued its advance toward Rostov-on-Don. It took part in the heavy fighting for Rostov before being ordered back to the Meuse River line in November. During 1941, the Heer officers in charge of the deployment of the SS division were skeptical of the fighting abilities and so were hesitated to commit it in any major actions. As the division proved itself again and again in combat, it began to earn growing respect from the Heer commanders. After successfully holding the river line in the winter of 1941-1942, the SS division was ordered to retake Rostov-on-Don and advance to the Caucasus, securing the regions of vital oil fields. This attack was known as Operation Mouth and formed as a part of Army Group South's offensive Case Blue, aimed at the capturing of Stalingrad and the Baku oil fields. Launched at the height of the summer, the offensive was unexpectedly successful. Within 6 weeks, Rostov and the entire Don region had been captured and the SS division was advancing deep into the Caucasus. By late September 1942, the SS division was in a position to launch an assault to capture the vital city of Grozny. Working with Panzergruppe Traugott-Herr's 13th Panzer Division, a plan was arranged to capture the city. As they reached the Terek River, the Soviet defensive solidified several obstacles built to be breached before the Gorochian Road, along with American supplies were transported, could be reached. Realizing the difficulty of this situation, Felix Steiner divided his division in 4 columns, each with separate objectives, but all aimed at breaching the Soviet defensives and opening a road to the Caspian Sea. The SS Regiment Nordland was to attack along with the Kurp River to Malgobek. The SS Panzer Battalion Wiking, with elements of the SS Regiment Germania, was to breach the main line of defense and establish a bridgehead. The SS Regiment Westland was to capture the town of Sagomnish, and the division engineer correspondent, along with the rest of Germania, was to advance along the The attack got underway on the 9th of September, 25 and 26, 1942. Nordland's assault soon backed down, as the soldiers realized that not only they were outnumbered by the Red Army, but later also well entrenched in prepared positions. Within 30 minutes, almost the half of the men were fallen. Despite of this, they still captured the hill. Its commander Fritz von Scholz was awarded the Knight's Cross. The division finally captured Malgobek on October 6th. However, the objective of seizing the capital and opening a road to the Caspian Sea was not achieved. The closest point, the Grozny Hill 701, was captured by the Finnish Volunteer Battalion of Waffen-SS Division Nordland. During this operation, the Viking division lost over 1,500 men, several combat units were reduced to only the dozens of men, and where veterans later wrote, "Casualties weren't counted anymore, just men left alive." The division also anticipated in the try of relieve Stalingrad. This operation failed. In late November 1942, the division was redesignated the 5th SS-Panzer-Grenadier Division Wiking. By now the division had gained the reputation of an elite formation, and in early 1943 it was ordered to fall back to the Ukraine south of Kharkov, recently been abandoned by the 2nd SS Panzer Corps, and now the scene of first fighting for its recapture. During mid-1943, the 5th SS Viking underwent a major transformation. Steiner was now a Gruppenführer, was transferred to the 3rd Germanic SS Panzer Corps, currently forming in Croatia. His replacement was Herbert Otto Gille, was provide himself as Steiner's equal. The remains of the veterans SS Regiment Nordland, along with its commander Fritz von Scholz, were moved from the division and used as nucleus of a new 11th SS Volunteer Panzer-Grenadier Division Nordland. Also the Finnish volunteer battalions of the Waffen-SS were disbanded as the agreed 2 years service of the Finnish volunteers had ended. In an attempt to offset the loss of the Finns and the Nordland Regiment, the newly formed Estonian volunteer unit Estonian Volunteer Panzer Grenadier Battalion Narva was attached to the division. While the division was refitting, it was involved in minor skirmishes with partisans. The reorganization was completed by late June, and the division was moved to Legium, where it, along with the 23 Panzer Division, was to form the reserve force of von Manstein's armed group during the approach of Operation Citadel. While the operation was in effect, several Soviet formations attacked towards Oriel and Kharkov. The 5th SS Viking Division was engaged against forces near Kharkov, with the Estonians acquitting themselves well, destroying around 100 Red Army tanks over several days. When Citadel was cancelled, the division was still involved in halting the Soviet tanks. Further to the south of the Meuse front, a major Red Army offensive, Operation Remunster, treated to break the German lines. The 5th SS Viking was joined the 3rd SS Totenkopf Panzer Division and the 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division in Das Reich, and was sent to the Minchus Bogudov sector to halt the Soviet attacks. In subsequent fighting, the SS Division defeated 2 Soviet tank armies, totaling over 1,000 tanks, destroying over 800 of them. At no time did the SS divisions have any more than 50 panzers in working order. Despite horrifying losses, the Soviets were able to take Kharkov on 23 of August and began advancing towards the Dnieper. In October, the division was again pulled back out of the line, this time to be restructured as a panzer division, the 5th SS Panzer Division Viking. To bolster the strength of the division, the Wallon volunteer 5th SS Sturmbrigade Wallonien was attached to the division. But later the 5th SS Sturmbrigade Wallonien was withdrawn. After a brief period of rest and refit, the 5th SS Viking Division was sent to assist the defense of Kovel, which was under a threat from a strong Soviet force. Gill led his army men towards the town and began setting up a defensive perimeter, which was soon encircled by the Red Army. The 2nd Battalion SS Panzerregiment 5th Viking, equipped with newly arrived Panther tanks, along with the 3rd Battalion SS Panzerregiment Germania, well equipped and up-strength, arrived to the front from Germany and began to form a relief formation. The unit was under command of Obersturmführer Karl Nikolaus Lek, commanded of the 8th Company 2nd Battalion SS Panzerregiment 5th Viking. Nikolaus Lek immediately launched an attack with 5 tanks soon after beginning the assault. He received a radio message from the besieged commander to halt his attack and withdraw. Lek orders his radio operator to ignore the call and continue with the attack. Risking coward material, Nicholas Lek proceeded to fight his way through the Red Army encirclement, destroying several tanks in the process. His Panther was the first vehicle to break through the encirclement. For the actions he was awarded the Knight Cross of the Iron Cross. After the relief force had been established, a corridor to the trapped forces to withdraw began. Like the previous encirclement at Kosun, the Viking managed to escape with most of its equipment intact. In late August 1944, the division was ordered back to the Modlin fortress on the Vistulusa River line near Warsaw. It was joined the new formed army group Vistula, fighting with the Luftwaffe Hermann Göring Panzer Division. The division annihilated the Red Army 3rd Tank Corps. The advent of Warsaw Uprising brought the Soviet defense to a halt, and relief piece fell on the front to the line in Warsaw. Higher the SS police leader Erich von den Bach-Schwelewski destroyed Warsaw with its civilians and the home army. In late December 1944, the German forces, including the 9th SS Mounted Corps, defending Budapest, were encircled, and the 4th SS Panzer Corps was ordered to join Hermann Balck's 6th Army, Army Group Balck, which was mustering from a relief effort codenamed Operation Conrad. Part of Operation Conrad, the 5th SS Panzer-Division Wiking was committed to action on January 1, 1945, fighting alongside with the 3rd SS Panzer-Division Totenkopf near Tata. The advance columns of the Viking attached to the 4th Guards Army. A heavy battle ensued, with the Viking and the Totenkopf seeing many of the Red Army tanks destroyed. In 3 days, the two formations had driven 28 miles over rough terrain, over half the distance of their start point to Budapest. The Soviet maneuvered forces to block the advance, and they barely managed to halt the Germans at Biske, only 70 miles from Budapest. Gill pulled the Viking division out of the line and moved to Eszgrom near the Bonup Bend. The second relief attempt, to be known as Operation Conrad II, got underway on 7th of January. In atrocious conditions, the Viking advanced south towards Budapest. By 12th of January, the SS Panzer Grenadier Regiment Westland had almost reached Buda and was only 12 miles away. That morning, the Panzer Grenadiers spotted the church spires and turrets of the distant Budapest. Skylines poking through the morning fog. Despite the operation's successes, it had been overextended and were vulnerable to attack. Unable to exploit its breakthrough and eventually ordered to pull back and regroup. Hitler was furious about the lack of progress and called Operation utterly pointless. On February the 13th, the besieged forces capitulated, and badly mauled Viking was ordered back to the Lake Balaton, where the Obergruppenführer Sepp Dietrich's 6th Army Panzer Division was preparing to another offensive. In total, the offensive had cost the 5th SS Viking Division and the 3rd SS Totenkopf Division almost 8,000 casualties, including 200 officers. After the failure of Operation Conrad, the 5th SS Division Viking began the defensive operation to falling back of the west of Budapest and moving into Czechoslovakia. Gill's corps was to be depleted to take part in Operation Vurlingswagen near the Lake of Balaton, and instead remained as a support unit of the 6th SS Army during the beginning of the operation. The 5th SS Division Viking performed a holding operation on the left flank. The division was heavily engaged in preventing Soviet efforts to outflanking the advancing German forces. However, as the offensive stalled, the Red Army launched a major offensive to Vienna Operation on March the 15th, attacking the lines between the 3rd SS Totenkopf, stationed the north of the Viking, and the Hungarian 2nd Armored Division. Contact was soon lost between these formations. Acting quickly, Balck recommended moving the 1st SS Panzer Corps north to plug the gap and prevent the encirclement of the 4th SS Panzer Corps. Despite a quick thinking, a Führer ordered the authorizing of a move was slowing and coming, and when the division finally began moving, it was too late. On March the 22, the Soviet encirclement of the Totenkopf and Viking was almost complete. Desperate Balck, through the veteran 9th SS Panzer Division, Hohenstaufen into an area to hold open a small exit. In a battle to hold open the Beria corridor, the Hohenhausen bled itself while the Guild's corps managed to escape. The 24th of March, another Soviet attack was through the exhausted 4th SS Panzer Corps back towards Vienna. All contact was lost with the neighboring 1st SS Panzer Corps, and whilst resemblance of an organized line of defense was gone. The Viking executed a fighting withdrawal further into Czechoslovakia. By early May it was within reach of the American forces, to whom the division officially surrendered near Furensfeld in Austria on May the 9th. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did, and I hope to see you in the next video.